Welcome to Leafs Quick Hits. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sil.
And we have 12 games remaining for the Leafs as we're getting down to the last few games of the season. And first, before we get into this show, I just want to apologize for a mistake I made on our Ladies Talking Leafs episode. I said the Leafs lost to Carolina and that I guess there was a group of games. I believe it was around 6 games that that we were talking about, and I said that the home games, we lost all the home games, but we didn't. We did win that one game, so I don't want to take that away from it. And the other thing is, for those of you watching on YouTube, you see this Wendell Clark jersey, but a lot of our listeners are on Spotify, Apple. They don't see that, and when I was referring to Austin Matthews and his, I guess, management of his injury, I was referring to him maybe taking a page from Wendell Clark, right? Wendell Clark is, he went through a lot of back issues and that over his career and had to do a lot of managing to get ready for the game. So, it's kind of, I was pointing behind me, which is what I'm doing now, not realizing that people on Spotify and Apple and whoever's listening, not on YouTube, not watching, wouldn't be able to know what I was talking about there. But that's what I was referring to. So yes,
we forgive you, Chris.
Yeah, but we want to be clear. We want to be clear. Yes. But all right, so now we're done with that, and we just want to give a quick word about our sponsor, Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the March Madness. Keep an eye out for a new $50,000 Sweet 16 bracket contest coming soon. I saw that yesterday on their website. So that's why I pointed out there. And whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion.
With the largest selection of odds on everything from the NHL to the NBA to college basketball, of course, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know needs some support or advice, you can reach out to Connex Ontario or an organization near you.
And a reminder that we need you to hit that follow button wherever you are listening to our show, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app. Hit the subscribe button if you're listening on YouTube. And it's important to bring awareness to our show as a place for Leafs content, and you won't miss any news related to the Leafs.
If you're watching the show on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button also, and you won't miss any of our shows there. And as well, we have a lot of video content from games we attend at Scotiabank Arena. So those seem to be pretty popular. So check those out as well.
Yeah, we'll be updating those this week with the game versus the Flyers. So we'll have some new content there. Okay, time to get into the Leafs quick hits of the week. First game was versus the Flames, 6-2 win on St. Patrick's Day. The Leafs were wearing their green and white St. Paddy's Day uniforms, which is great. Big win. And for me in that game, I guess it changed after the Flames' second goal was called back. That was the big moment. It just seemed to deflate the Flames and or put out the Flames, I guess, and got us going, and got our power play going again, which we were complaining about for quite some time. So that was good, 3 for 3. Matthews woke up in that game, started to be a little bit more the Austin Matthews that we know, had 2 goals and an assist. And Mitch Marner had his 60th and 61st assists of this season. So yeah, it was overall that was it was a good game. It was something that we haven't had in a while, a big win like that, 6-2.
Yeah, it was a real turnaround win, and something to kind of get the ball rolling, which we needed. And that was like the first game in a while that Matthews, like, he really looked like his old self. And when he scored the first goal, like, I don't know, it was such a celebration. He just kind of was like, yay, I finally got one,
Yeah.
So that I thought was kind of funny, but I think it was it just looked really good. And for him, maybe something that he can build on, which I think, we've seen in consequent games as well. So, yeah, it was a good win.
Yeah,
And it's a game that we should have won. So we did.
Yeah.
And that is the main thing.
Yeah. But Calgary, I mean, they are fighting for a playoff spot
For
too
sure.
with Vancouver. But yeah, no, it's definitely a game that we needed to win. And just because the team was reeling, basically, like where they were losing.
Yeah, they
many
needed
in
to
a
put
row.
a stop there.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And it was good to get that win at home, wearing the St. Pat's jerseys. I think that Clover is kind of looking like it's good luck now. And it was like a celebratory, atmosphere in the arena as well for that day. So it's not often that we have that game right on St. Patrick's Day too. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing
anything more to add on that one?
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to just say about that one was that the Joseph Wall didn't have to make like so many great saves, right? Because it was Wall in goal for that game. Because he played 2 in a row, right? Because then he played on Wednesday night versus Colorado too. But our defense was pretty solid on that Monday night game versus the Flames. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So you already mentioned Wednesday we played the Avalanche. It was a 2-1 win for us. And like you mentioned, that was the second consecutive start for Joseph Woll, which I think was a surprise for a lot of people. I think people really thought that they were going to go back to Stolars in that game, but Berube was asked about it and he said that he liked what he saw. So he gave him the consecutive start. And of course it was Joseph Woll special, 38 saves. And another few things to mention, Stephen Lawrence with the shorthanded goal with the assist off the ref turned out to be the game winner. And Jake McCabe played just over 25 minutes, had 3 hits, 2 block shots, and was +1 on the night. It was definitely a playoff type atmosphere. Man, would it be awesome to see these two in the Stanley Cup final. Like just 7 games against the opponent like this. Another thing that I want to mention is like that stop that Marner got behind the net that basically sent Cale Makar flying. Basically broke his ankles. That was another thing that I thought was pretty awesome. So it was a real playoff atmosphere.
Yeah, and the Selly, Stephen Lawrence with the Selly, that was like he was almost as good as like what Austin Matthews does after his goals. But that goal was crazy with it was like Benoit shot it from the other end and he nearly, and the ref was like ducking, thinking that he was going to get hit by the puck, and he ended up stopping it for Stephen Lawrence and got the shorty goal too. And then Jake McCabe was just that pairing with Tanev that night. That was just, like, they had everything under control. Basically, they were in shutdown mode, even though like Joseph Wall had to obviously make several big saves versus
he was in that night. He looked like I remember him in the playoffs against Boston, in the games that he looked really incredible. It still worries me sometimes because he's just so reactive, and I just worry sometimes that he's going to get hurt on some of these plays just because of past things that have happened.
Last night versus the Predators. We'll get to that. I was worried about the injury there, but it didn't happen there. At least I crossed my fingers we didn't. But no, he definitely. I mean, you're never, when it comes to Colorado, you're not going to stop shots from McKinnon and Makar. Like, they're going to get their opportunities. Oh yeah, and they have a really good team. So we needed Joseph Wall to come up big, and he did. So then that was. I thought the crowd too. You could feel it through the TV, the energy in that. It was definitely like a playoff game that way. So
for sure. Yeah.
All right, next up we had the Rangers. Of course, it was a lovely back-to-back again that we have. But it was a 4-3 win. I was surprised actually that we came out with the win. Like they played pretty solid for the whole game.
And it's a good road win.
Yes, yeah. And we actually watched the game. It was fun. We watched the game at the Bottom Line restaurant in Toronto, which is next to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Great place to watch the game. And we met former Leaf Shane Corson, which was great. So
he was so lovely and really, he was just great. Like he took the time, like he was mingling the whole night, talking to fans, spent a lot of time talking with us, about the old days and stuff like that. So it was really good and had, lots of things to add about the team currently as well. So that was really special. But then the other thing was we got to meet lots of fans, some other podcasters that were there. It's a really great place to watch the game on these nights. So, Chris, you're going to mention, who to contact if you want to go and watch the game with one of these watch parties.
Yeah. First of all, though, with Shane Corson, it was hilarious. The next morning, I heard him on TSN radio. He was at the Hockey Helps the Homeless. I guess he volunteers there too, and he was out. I think it was in Brampton or somewhere out in your end there, still doing some charity event for that in the morning. It was like bright and early, 8:00. So he was mingling with us the night before and then he's right back at it the next morning. So it's great with these alumni players do.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you are interested in a future Leafs watch party, I guess our friend Jeremy Ridgewell, you can follow him. It's at 84 Leafs fan on X. And he's the one to. And actually on the Bottom Line restaurant too, you could follow them too. They have the information for these because Molson Canadian is a sponsor for it as well.
Yeah.
So.
And they have like trivia and a raffle and like there's like all kinds of activities. There was you won a Snuggie. Chris won a Snuggie, a Maple Leaf Snuggie.
Yeah. So you could win stuff and it's just all around. It's just a fun.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch a game with other fans and everything. So that was good. But then let's get into the game.
Yeah, the game. Yeah. So John Tavares with his 1100th career point of his 2 goals and an assist on the night. Anthony Stolarz stopped 27-30 shots. Couldn't fault him really on any of the 3 goals. And then Jake McCabe with another great night, 3 assists. This time he was into the offense there, and just over 22 minutes of ice time on a back-to-back. So that he was definitely, for me, the star of that game was Jake McCabe.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean Shesterkin. I don't know. He looks like,
I don't know.
I don't know about him.
He signed that contract and everything started to go south after that. So that I don't know. I heard a lot of people talking about the Rangers and how they look, and it's just, and I think it's true. Like the body language throughout the team is just not good right now. Like they don't seem to have the drive to, to push through and I don't know. I don't know if they're even going to make it.
Considering we were on the second half of the back-to-back, we controlled most of the play.
It looked like they were.
Yeah, it looked like they were. And I mean, it was 4-3, but they got the 3rd goal late in the 3rd period. So, and like it for me, it wasn't really close like that game.
No.
And that's what I was impressed with when it came to the Leafs, the fact that they were on the back-to-back and I think, finally, I guess from Jake McCabe too, he said, I believe it was before that game or after the game, like first place matters for them. He just came out and said that, and I thought that was great. I just think that he's definitely a leader in that dressing room, and I just I like to see what he brought there.
He's just always so serious, like there's no joking around with him.
Yeah,
it's like when he's talking, he's like all business. And that's what I love about him and Tanev too as a pair. Like, there's no joking around. There's no smiling. It's like, they're just,
stone-faced,
serious.
answering the reporter questions, and
Yeah.
and that's it. But yeah, no, I love the fact that he just said, first place is important. It's important to get home ice, and that's what they were after.
And then that just brings us to the next game, the final game that we're going to cover on this episode, which is surprising that they said that because they basically kind of laid a little bit of a stinker versus the Nashville Predators, which ended up as a 5-2 loss. Now, I think the 5-2 makes it sound worse than it was. Yeah. Started off really well with a 2-goal lead after the first period. But then the Leafs took their foot off the gas completely and tried to coast. And then they allowed 3 goals in the second, and then the game was over. So it was too bad because if first place really meant that much, they would have tried to capitalize on it last night because Florida and Tampa both lost. So we could have been alone in first place in the Atlantic today, but instead we remain tied with both those teams. With 12 games left to play. And Tampa, of course, has a game in hand also. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
On a positive note, though, Tavares got his 30th goal of the season. He now has 7 30-goal seasons, which is incredible. Captain consistency. On the negative, that's 2 games in a row with Holmberg, Domi. Robertson is the third line with no offensive input. So zeros across the board for those guys.
Yeah.
I really think that with that line, they're going to have to always be mixing it up because they all seem to be guys that when you either take them out or put them back in, they play better. So I don't know. It's just, they just have trouble staying consistent.
The problem there, I think now is that Craig Berube is not playing Scott Lawton at center.
Yeah.
He's going
to have to move him up there though. Come
that's
on.
what they got him for.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to work through his little bit of struggles that he's having. I mean, give the guy a chance, right? He hardly have any opportunity. I mean, it's just not going for him to start off his career as a Leaf. It's just not going for him, and you got to work through it. And this is the time to work through it because it's the regular season.
What about to try to, I know they tried to get him going by putting Marner and Nylander with him, as an experiment, but what about moving him up to the second line, with Tavares and Nylander and putting him on the wing just to try to get him going?
I don't know. I just think you got to we need the centerman. Domi is not good at center. No. And I think I guess the problem too here with this third line is because they switched up McMahon and Holmberg, right? So they put McMahon up, and we were saying in our last show that McMahon wasn't doing, he needed to step up a little bit. And of course now he is because he's playing with JT and Nylander. So maybe you're right. Maybe he does need to just go up there and put McMahon down and put Holmberg down on the fourth line. Let's say, or Robertson, whichever one. And maybe you're right. Maybe that is an option, but they got to get him back at center somehow. I don't understand Craig Berube too, because it's not it's not like he's never played center. He was playing center all year long with the Flyers.
Well, and I kind of feel
his whole career.
Yeah, I know that Berube thinks that Lawton's a little bit too much in his head and that he just, needs to kind of settle into his game. But I kind of feel then show that you trust the guy and just say, you know what, you're playing here and I'm going to play you there until you get it going.
Yeah.
Instead of, because I don't know, I don't really think that it's going to do much for him playing more limited minutes down there. I know he's getting penalty kill time and everything too, but I think he needs to play more and get used to, certain line mates.
Yeah. Well, this is what Berube said, actually. This is from Terry Koshin, the Toronto Sun. Berube said on Lawton, I guess it was after the game versus the Avalanche, looks like. Yeah, he says, Berube said, I think he's trying to probably play the game without making mistakes, and he's overthinking things. Be aggressive, do your thing, and that will come around. I do believe that. He wants to do well, and he just has to loosen up. Well,
yeah, so it's classic, kid who grew up here gets traded here and just wants to put like the whole team's success on his shoulders. And like, it's a team sport. You can't put it all on yourself like that.
Right. But the coach has to, like you said, give him some confidence too, to play him in his natural position, which is center, and which is what we need him to do that. And now's the time. But yeah, I don't know. That's the third line issue. But otherwise,
which seems to never go away, no matter what.
Yeah. Even though, I don't know. So we'll see what happens there. But despite the loss to Nashville, actually, before we move on though, how did you think with Joseph Woll? How do you think he played versus Nashville? I don't know. I thought
I thought that it wasn't his strongest game of the week. That's for sure.
Yeah. There was one save he made where it was like splits. I don't know who he shot. I don't know if it was Forsberg or something else that he stopped, but that's the one that I thought he might have injured himself. I was like, oh, let me see. But he got up and he was okay. He played the whole game. So hopefully everything's good that way. But yeah, I don't know. He just didn't. And then the other issue was for the two games that Jake McCabe that were great on a back-to-back, that pairing last night.
Yeah, they weren't good.
I don't know what McCabe was thinking. I thought to myself, he got 3 assists versus the Rangers, and he must think now all of a sudden the offense is going to come because he was pinching all night. Like he was pinching in, but
yeah, and that kind of reminds me of Jake McCabe. Shades of him when we first got him. Before he settled into his good play, and he was pinching all the time and getting himself out of position.
Yeah. But and then. Yeah, it just wasn't, after they got the 2-0 lead, it was almost like they just thought, oh, well, these guys are like Nashville. Obviously, they're like a bottom end team. And
it's a little bit like what the mistakes they've made in the past, where they basically just don't take, teams that are kind of in the bottom of the league as seriously as they should, but they really need to realize that any team can win on any given night in this league. And like, look at their roster. Like anybody who looks at Nashville's roster should be looking at it going, there's no reason why they should be playing as bad as they are. Like they have a stacked roster. If they get it together, they're gonna do well. Like it doesn't actually make sense how bad they're doing.
Yeah, it's too late for them now, mind you.
Yeah.
And I didn't even notice Steven Stamkos last night. Like,
I know.
Except for one shot.
Who thought he was going to be going to Nashville to disappear? And, like I just never, ever would have imagined that. But it's like, I don't know how it must feel like to be a guy that was always talked about to like.
And now he's going to miss the playoffs. He's going to miss the playoffs for the first time.
And like, yeah.
God knows when. Yeah. But
I know it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure that they'll turn things around next year. I mean, they better, or like Barry Trotz will be in trouble. And so will their coach, because there really isn't any reason.
The coach might already be in trouble.
Andrew Burnett. Yeah, he looked very uncomfortable on the bench, I have to say, when they were panning to him quite a lot. And he just looked, I think he must go home at night and be like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is this happening? So let's move on to some more positivity and talk a little bit more about the Leafs again. Enough about the Nashville Predators, and look at our star of the week. And for this Leafs Quick Hits episode, that is John Tavares. So he played his 500th game with the Leafs versus the Flames, and Mr. Consistency had 5 points in the 4 games this week, including his 30th goal of the season. And Tavares is just outside of the top 10, coming in at 11th with the face-off win percentage of 57.4. And teammate Austin Matthews actually is in the 10th spot right now. So he's actually really improved himself in the dot. So that's another good sign that he's improving and starting to feel better. And he's at 57.6 on the dot. So as we mentioned earlier, Tavares got his 1100th career point versus the New York Rangers in a rink that he's very familiar scoring in. Yeah. And he is the 68th player in NHL history with 1100 points. So for that and more, John Tavares is our star of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just think we've said it before too, like just not having the captaincy too, I think has actually helped
for sure.
him. I think like this year,
Yeah,
he's always been Mr. Consistency, but it's just
I just feel like he only has to worry about
his game,
out himself
and himself,
him being right, his taking care of his body and doing what he does. So like all of it is just all of his energy is focused on just his game and, taking care of himself. And it's really paying off. Like he looks amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, he's obviously been a captain for a long time with the Islanders and with our Leafs. But, he said yesterday after the game, like, we should be pissed off, like, cause everyone was saying like, like how you feel or whatever, cause you could have been alone in first place, right? If they beat the Predators, but they didn't. And he's like, we should be pissed off, basically. Right. So that it was good to see that, we knew that he still is a leader in that room and he just continues to show that. So, and being 68th in NHL history, like one player, with 1,100 points, like that's pretty incredible.
There's been a lot of players coming through the NHL in the 100+ years.
Yeah. Yeah. So, definitely worthy of being our star of the week.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So it's less than a month away now until the start of the playoffs. Can't even believe that.
Yeah.
And first place in the Atlantic is still very much up for grabs. And the Leafs have another big road trip coming up this week.
Yeah, so they start off the week similar to last week, in that they have the one home game, this time on Tuesday night versus the Flyers of Philadelphia Flyers. And then they head out west for the California road trip. God, it's like a long time. They keep switching this road trip as to when it happens. But starting on Thursday night versus San Jose, get the coffee going, I'm sure that's why Cafe Benoit or Benoit Cafe was.
That's why he probably took his coffee maker.
He's probably being noticed more with it because he's going out west. I don't know how the coffee is out there, but we need to get our coffee going too because it's a 10:30 p.m. Eastern start time for that game.
Yeah, I don't like these late. I'll be probably falling asleep to the game in the third period and waking up to the results is normally what happens. So anyway, then the Leafs go to play the LA Kings on Saturday night. That will be easier to stay up for because we don't have to worry about work the next day. And then there's another back-to-back as they play the Ducks on Sunday night in Anaheim. So
yeah. And that Ducks game is actually I was surprised. It's at 8:00 Eastern time.
Nice
so that'll be all right. Yeah. On a Sunday night. I was thinking that maybe they'd put it at 10:00 as well, but
well, this way the kids can watch some of it.
Yeah.
Before going to bed.
I mean, we got to win the 2 out of the 3 anyways on that one. Like, I mean, the Flyers, well, I guess we'll include the Flyers game. The Flyers game we should win as well.
That would be good for Scott Laughton if he has a good night against his former team.
Maybe that's the team that actually I totally forgot that. Maybe that's the night that he'll turn it around against his former team, right? And hopefully he'll get some time at center and play more than 9 minutes, which is what he had last night for the Predators, because we definitely got him for more than 9 minutes a night. We need him playing. But and then that we should beat San Jose on Thursday night. And
that's should be a redemption game for them beating us in our barn. So that's a game we should have won, and we should show them what we're made of when we're there.
Yeah, and then the Anaheim game as well. Like, those are bottom teams. We got to beat these bottom teams. We lost to the Predators, so that's our one gift, which we shouldn't have gifted. But these next few games against these lower teams, we need to get it done.
For the last little while, people have been talking about how, light our schedule is compared to some of the teams that we're, vying against for the top spot in our division. And these are the kind of games that we need to take advantage of, so.
I'm just looking it up here just to see the LA King. Yeah, because that Kings game is going to be, because they're basically 2 points behind the Oilers right now in third.
Yeah, so they've got something to play for as well.
They've got something to play for, yeah. Yeah, so they're they're going to be a tougher opponent. Obviously, they're a better team as well than the other two California teams.
I just remember, when going out to play these West Coast teams was like the road trip of death kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Death
back
Valley.
not that long ago. Is like, we were never looking forward to even seeing any wins out of those games.
Yeah.
But these are now, it's just, just testament to how things change, and there are definitely teams out there now that we can try to take advantage of. So,
yeah. So, but yeah, no, we definitely need to get it done versus those lower echelon teams now. So we'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to have the coffee going for that Thursday night game versus the San Jose Sharks, and I'm sure most Leaf fans will as well. So make sure, though, that you hit that follow button or subscribe button to our show on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to us. You can also listen to our show on the Believe Network at Believe.com. It's BLEAV.com. And don't forget, we love hearing from our listeners. If you are listening on Spotify, answer our poll question. Still waiting for that first person to answer that poll question. And it's very quick and easy. All you have to do is scroll up, and it's right at the bottom of our Spotify profile, and it's an easy way to give us your feedback on the show. You can also leave us a comment on YouTube or on social media. Our handle is at LTL1917.
And a reminder, you can check out our Ko-fi page also at kofi.com/LTL1917. And while visiting our Ko-fi page, please consider supporting our show by buying us a coffee. Any donation goes towards helping us produce the show and making it even better for you. You can find the link to our Ko-fi page on our show notes or in any of our social media profile pages.
And thank you to our healthcare workers and first responders for all that they do.
And we thank you, as always, for listening and watching Ladies Talking Leafs, presented by Bet Online. Till next time, go Leafs, go.
Leafs, go.
Do you believe?